And we'll continue with A House Like a Lotus by Madeleine L'Engle. Rennie had borrowed a motorboat from one of the doctors, which saved us nearly an hour. He took me to a Greek restaurant, Petros, near the dock, which shared a run-down sort of boardwalk with a seafood restaurant. Rennie and I sat in a booth, and he told me about his special field, tropical medicine, especially in South America. That surprised me. I looked at Rennie sitting across from me, and there was something solid about him. His blue-gray eyes behind the thick lenses were amused. I inherited the Rainier myopia, he said. He'd have been good casting for a young doctor on a soap opera. If I'd been asked to guess what he was going to specialize in, I'd have said orthopedics or maybe general surgery. No, South America, amoebas and parasites. What about India? I asked, because I'd always wanted to go to India. Aren't there vast quantities of amoebas and parasites there? Yes, but I'm particularly interested in some parasites which are found largely in South America. They get into the bloodstream and, to try to simplify a long procedure, eventually invade the heart. Doesn't sound nice, isn't. The parasite, trypanosoma, enters the body usually through the bite of an insect. There are two types of trypanosoma. The problem I'm interested in is Chagas disease and Netson's. Netson's disease is even more lethal than Chagas, particularly to someone with no immunities. When it gets in the heart, ultimately it kills, and thus far we don't have any successful treatment. More important than treatment is finding a means of prevention. Hey, is there any disease around here? No, don't worry. So far, is there any of this disease around here? No, don't worry. So far, it's found almost exclusively in South American, none indigenous to North America. Behind Rennie was a large poster of the Acropolis, the Parthenon prominent. Despite the Greek decor, the menu was Italian, but I had no idea, that first pizza with Rennie, that I'd ever be going to Greece. So how come you're interning at M.A. Horn in Cowpertown if you're so interested in South American diseases? Because Bart Netson's on the staff of M.A. Horn. He's my immediate boss. When I looked totally surprised, he grinned. I have the feeling you suspected that M.A. Horn was at the bottom of my list when I applied to hospitals. I could feel myself flushing. I had once again jumped to conclusions. I had judged Rennie quickly and unfairly. Offhand, a small general hospital off the beaten track doesn't sound like a number one choice. I didn't know about this Netson or his disease. Why is he at M.A. Horn? Rennie laughed, a nice, hearty laugh. He was born in Charleston, but spent most of his childhood in Argentina because his father was in foreign service. He came back to Charleston to medical school and married an heir. He spends a couple of months each year in South America doing research. He's published a lot of good material, probably the best in the field of tropical medicine, and it's prestigious for M.A. Horn to have him. They're heavily enough endowed to give him pretty much whatever he wants. So he's a sort of cousin of Max's? Has to be. Her mother was an heir. He cut 2 more slices of pizza and put 1 dripping cheese on my plate. Polly, if I go on riding my hobby horse, we'll miss the movie. That's okay, I'd rather talk. He looked eager. Sure, I'm interested. I wouldn't think you'd have many patients coming into M.A. Horn with South American diseases. You'd be surprised. He took a large bite of pizza and a swig of milk. With the continuing flood of refugees from South American countries, some of them coming in via Cuba and Florida, I'm filtering up through Georgia. We get quite a few, and because of Bart Netson, their problem is recognized more quickly than in other places. For instance, a mild case of conjunctivitis plus a fluctuating fever isn't usually equated with a parasite. Conjunctivitis? You mean pink eye? The vector, the biting insect, often bites the face at the mucocutaneous junction. Translate, the lip, or the outer canthus of the eye. How do you get involved? It did seem an odd choice for a perfect Southern gentleman type, like Quirón Rainier. I spent a couple of summers working in a clinic in Santiago. Eventually, I want to go back. Like a missionary? He shook his head. To do research. A lot of good medicine has, in fact, come from medical missionaries who give their lives to help people nobody else gives a hoot about. Millions of people worn down and living half lives. How do you get to Chile and this clinic? He looked over my head at one of the Greek posters. I met a girl from Santiago when I was in college. Jacinta was over here taking pre-med courses and stayed on for the medical school. It was through her I got the summer jobs in Chile. You were in love with her? He nodded. And vice versa? A shadow crossed his face. To some extent, but there wasn't any future for us. Why not? For one thing, Jacinta was Roman Catholic. Would that really matter? To her, yes. And she came from a big Chilean family, and she was engaged to someone there. They still arrange marriages. She sounds like an independent type. Why'd she accept it? Who knows? Maybe she liked the guy. Maybe he had enough money for her clinic. And you don't want me to ask any more questions about her. It's okay, Rennie said. I've pretty well got her out of my system. But you're still into tropical medicine? Yeah, I guess I'm grateful to her for that. I really am fascinated by it. And he was still bruised over the Chilean girl. Jacinta's interning in Louisiana, he said. I might bump into her if I ever get back to Chile, but she'll be married by then. They make good baklava here. Want some? Too sweet. You go ahead. After we finished eating, he drove back to the dock and we got into the motorboat. About halfway to the island, he cut the motor and kissed me, which Kate had given me to understand was mandatory, whether the guy really liked you or not. I hope that Rennie liked me. He kissed nicely. I'm glad your friend made me call you, he said. That was Rennie. And I liked him, as the older brother I'd always wanted, even if I got a little tired of tropical medicine, and maybe I was helpful to him in getting his Chilean girl out of his system. And we'll pause there.